Howdy, folks. My name is Marble, and my pronouns are she, her.
My name is Ray, and my pronouns are he, him.
And I'm Mars, and my pronouns are they, them. And it's time to pull a card from the deck of friendship.
I'm dabbing. You can't tell, but I'm dabbing.
Yeah. I that flavor from the last episode, I'm keeping it in. I like it.
I like it, too.
This is a podcast where each and every week we talk about an episode of a game-based friendship anime. In this case, 2 episodes, because we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1, Episode 4 and Episode 5, because it's a 2-parter, and we're saving everybody the trouble of having to sit through half a duel in an episode, having us talk about half a duel for an episode.
Mars, I have a question.
Marble, I hopefully have an answer.
What happens in these episodes?
Well, why don't I tell you? So, the episode 4, Into the Hornet's Nest. The gang all gets off the boat, and Tristan has a bit of a freak out moment where he's like worried that he's gonna get caught, and he doesn't. It's fine. So, they're at Duelist Kingdom, which is an island in the middle of the ocean. We don't know where it is, but we also don't know necessarily. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! The show is set in Japan.
I think that sounds right.
I think that's true. So it's an island off the coast of Japan, probably. They all arrive on the island. Yugi, Joey, the gang, all of these other duelists. Weevil is there, who in the previous episode tossed Yugi's Exodia cards into the ocean. So Yugi and Joey are like, hey, heck that guy. Let's go beat him up, but with cards.
I'd like to throw out one more thing.
Please do.
They also spot Bakura hiding in the forest like a cryptid.
They do. So they spot, they're walking up to there's this castle, and they're walking up to the castle, which is where Pegasus is. And Taya looks off to the side and sees Bakura, the white-haired kid from before, and she sees him just skulking off in the woods like the Sasquatch, and she comments that maybe it's all in her head. But Tristan saw Bakura too.
So
in last episode.
It raises questions, because I think that Bakura being there wouldn't even be that surprising, because he watches them play the game in class, so he's obviously interested. So it wouldn't be that wild to infer that maybe he got an invitation to this thing too. But instead, he has decided to go full cryptid, and he is hiding in the woods.
It's true.
It's a strat.
And
I guess.
And so the gang goes up to the castle, and Pegasus comes out on a balcony, and he gives this big speech about how there are new spooky rules that will be in the duels for every duel in this competition. And in order to gain access to the finals, you need to get 10 star chips. And last episode we talked about how Joey has, like, Yugi gave one of his star chips over to Joey. So when you beat a duel, or when you beat someone in a duel, you get, whatever amount of star chips they wagered. So it's Yugi and Joey's goal to each get 10 star chips and make it to the castle where they can go to the finals and beat Pegasus and save Grandpa and save Serenity's eyes. And they see Weevil. After the speech, they're out in a field and they see Weevil, and they're like, "Weevil, I challenge you to a duel." And Weevil just books it. What are you laughing about?
I have in my notes, which I think illustrates it pretty well. He laughs like a hyena and then darts into the forest.
It's true.
He makes like Bakura and runs into the forest.
So here's the thing too. They run into the woods and they're chasing after Weevil, and then immediately get surrounded by thousands of moths. This is never explained.
It's also really gross.
It's also gross. Yeah, it's never explained. I'm looking in the differences between the English dub and the original, and it's not mentioned there either. So, I'm pretty sure that these are just random moths. Like,
I think that Weevil believes in the heart of the moths.
Weevil believes in the heart of the moths, and he used that power to summon a swarm of moths.
Weevil is Mothman confirmed.
Weevil is the Mothman, Bakura is the Sasquatch.
No, because I respect the Mothman. I don't respect Weevil.
Weevil prays to the Mothman.
No, Weevil isn't the Mothman, Weevil's the Moth Goblin.
Which is an amazing title, first of all.
Yeah.
So, does he deserve it? We're not sure.
No, we'll find out.
They get out of the forest full of moths, and they don't comment on the moths anymore. And they catch up with Weevil, and Weevil's he yells and summons an earthquake, and the earthquake is a huge dueling arena coming out from the ground. And so the duel begins.
And lasts 45 minutes total.
It lasts 45 minutes total. The duel is Yugi v. Weevil Underwood.
It's essentially a lesson in environmental bonuses.
It is basically. The whole duel is basically that. It's also a all-for-nothing duel. So Weevil's putting up 2-star chips, which at this point would take him out of the competition if he lost. And Yugi's putting up his 1-star chip, plus his entire deck.
His grandpa's deck.
His grandpa's deck!
Which, if he lost it, I'm sure that the grandpa would have something to say about that.
Yeah, the grandpa would somehow astral project. Even his soul would astral project towards Yugi. Be like, what the heck?
Yugi, cards don't grow on trees.
Yugi, you did not respect the heart of the cards, and now I have to start my collection all over again. Yugi!
So let's get into the duel.
Let's.
The duel. In the beginning, Weevil summons Killer Needle. Yugi summons Mammoth Graveyard. They're equally matched. Or so it seems. Yugi attacks. But the Killer Needle actually has more attack points because of the field power bonus from the fact that the duel is set in the forest.
And can I say what happens because of that?
Absolutely.
Yugi has to move Mammoth Graveyard to the graveyard.
I'm so tired. I was trying really hard not to make that joke, and you did it.
Weevil summons Hercules Beetle, and
it's saying 0 to hero.
And then Yugi summons
Feral Imp! He sure does. Which, I have to say, did not get the greatest introduction. Because
no.
Feral Imp immediately gets just completely annihilated. Well, Yugi
Completely
gives him a
destroyed.
unicorn horn, and this is not enough to make him a match for whatever.
Well,
Weevil
the
threw out.
unicorn horn is enough, except for the fact that the Hercules Beetle has an equip card that is, I believe, not shown.
Oh.
That's what it says on the wiki. It
has a gun.
It has a... Well, it's funny you say that, because Weevil then does summon the basic insect and then does give it a gun.
Right.
Yeah, he does do that, doesn't he?
Yeah, a level 3 laser cannon and a level 2 power boost.
Yeah, at one point, while this was happening... Well, he was summoning all these cards and putting all these attachments on them. I have in my notes that it kind of seems like Weevil's just making things up as he goes along. I don't think any of these cards are real or these rules are real. I think he's just saying words and things are happening.
You would think so, but this is the same strat he uses to beat Wreck.
It's true. And,
it's still ridiculous as heck.
He just says it so confidently that the referees don't check.
There are, here's the thing. Here's the truth of it. There are some cards that only exist in the anime.
That's hilarious. I'd like to point out that while he's doing this magic super huge attack, he does reveal that his motivation is to take revenge for all dead bugs.
It's true. It's true.
Which is a really lofty goal, isn't it? He says, I'm pretty sure, I didn't write the exact quote down, but it was something like, I'm taking revenge for all the bugs you've stepped on, killed, or fumigated.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Weevil keeps summoning all of these monsters. Gokibore, Big Insect, Kamakiriman. These are apparently real.
I believe it.
But all this time, Yugi has been drawing cards and doing stuff, and he had set down a trap card earlier, which was Mirror Force. So when Weevil attacks with all these monsters, they all get destroyed by Mirror Force. And
he used the I am rubber, you are glue technique.
Basically. And drops Weevil's life points from 2,000 to 555. Which I said like it was a fun meme number, but it's not.
It is now.
555. Hell yeah.
All the while, Yugi's friends are there to cheer him on. But who else shows up?
Maya Valentine.
Yeah. So all this time, Yugi is... Because, in... I guess the last, duel that Yugi was in was the duel with Kaiba, right?
Yeah.
So this is, really, the first time we're really seeing that Yugi's friends... I mean, Joey cheered him on for the Kaiba duel, but this is the first time we're seeing that, all of his friends are basically just cheering him on the entire time. And Maya's there, and she's just saying, you're just distracting him. You're just, you're not doing anything. This is all a bunch of baloney. Friends don't help anyone.
We are told through context that Mai has no friends, or at the very least, she doesn't have friends that support her hobby.
It's true. It's
kind of tragic, isn't it?
It is. She's kind of a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
as most lesbians are oft wont to be.
But yeah, so then we go into episode 5, which is basically all about Weevil's moth.
It is, isn't it, huh?
This episode is just all about Yugi trying to deal with a big moth. So Weevil sets the larvae moth, and Yugi does some stuff, and Weevil equips it with Cocoon of Evolution, which basically puts the larva moth in a cocoon for 5 turns, and at the end of those 5 turns, will become a level 5 cool, perfectly ultimate great moth. Or whatever.
Mothman.
The Mothman.
I'd like to quickly interject that when he does this, the camera zooms in on his face, and there's a freeze frame of him with this evil smile, and the music kind of quiets down like he's about to say something villainous or profound about his strategy or whatever, but he does an internal evil laugh. It's just entirely in his head, but he does an evil laugh on the inside.
It's true. Yugi summons Gaia the Fierce Knight, and is this guess what? I can totally break down your cocoon before the 5 turns are up, and I'll defeat your monster. That's how it works. It's cool. And Weevil is guess what? Nah, even though you destroyed the cocoon, I still get my, level 4 Great Moth, so it's whatever. This is also our first introduction to fusion summoning. Oh my lord, when the whole episode is centered on half of a duel, you know that there's a lot going on.
Yeah. He used the polymerization card.
Yeah, the polymerization card to fuse Curse of Dragon with Gaia the Fierce Knight to summon Gaia the Dragon Champion, which is great and all.
Which he just refers to as my knight the whole time, which I'm
it's true.
Say the name,
That's
say
cute.
the name.
It's true.
He cares.
Yeah, he does care. My knight. Aw. It's almost sweet.
It is.
So anyway, there's a weird thing where the Great Moth, is poisonous scales, are depleting the attack points of Gaia the Dragon Champion, by 100 points every second, which is not how the game works.
But it adds the drama.
When you're playing the game, the amount of seconds don't matter. But okay.
The drama.
Yugi does a magic card, which is Maiku, the Magical Mist. which stops the poisonous scales, and it basically summons rain. Then the Great Moth destroys Dragon Champion. Yugi summons Summon Skull, which beats the Great Moth because the Great Moth is wet, and Summon Skull attacks with lightning. It's like the Brock. It's like the Brock fight.
I was about to say it's very Pikachu electrocuting a rock type Pokemon, isn't it?
It very much is.
Now, is that so? You know the game a little bit better than I do. Is that a thing that can happen? Oh, this moth is wet, so we're using an electric attack, or is it like literally just like Brock, where it's like that is just environmental storytelling?
So how it would actually work in the game now, as far as I'm aware, is that the field bonus comes from a card. It comes from a field card.
Oh, so field bonuses aren't made up.
They're not made up.
Those are a real thing.
Those are real.
Okay.
And let me check this, the Magical Mist card is probably anime only. Yes, it is. How the card would probably actually work is, like, the wording would be, gives Thunder-type monsters 1,000 attack bonus for this attack. Like, that's probably how it would be, like, balanced today.
Yeah.
I don't know how to talk about the poisonous scales in actual game terms.
We're very hypothetically writing them into the game.
Because most of the cards in this episode are anime only, it seems, or at least like almost all of the cards that Weevil uses.
Which is very funny to me, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, so Yugi beats Weevil, and apparently, according to this, attains Weevil's title of national champion, which is never brought up.
That's wow.
Okay.
So he retroactively erased Weevil's previous victories.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Weevil doesn't exist anymore.
Weevil's dead.
Sent to the garbage realm.
Okay, if this was the original anime, Weevil would be dead.
See, I used to make sent to the Shadow Realm jokes.
Right, Yugi pulled out a gun and sent him to the Shadow Realm.
No!
All right, Weevil. I draw. Gun!
So how did y'all feel about this episode?
I mean, these two episodes were like... I mean, the duel is fun to watch, but it's also very confusing and doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. So, from the perspective of someone who doesn't understand what's happening in any of the duels, I didn't know that. I was into it. I was like, wow, look at all this cool stuff. I wonder what this looks like to somebody who, like, knows the cards well.
I think future duels, like, stop using anime-only cards and start, like, actually, like, making duels that make sense. But certainly right now, like, for me who has played the game and does play the game, this duel was whack, yo.
Yeah, I feel that. I just want to get out of the way super fast that I think I made a slight mistake, and I'm just thinking about it now, in episode 2. Episode 2 specifically, because my expectations were entirely based around what I saw in episode 1. However, you know, like, it was exposition, it was very necessary, and I feel like we've gotten past the point where the stage has been set, and I don't need to be looking for, like, specific themes in every single episode, because there weren't really in these two. It was all about them getting to the island and having their first fight. The stage has been set. We're there.
We're there.
The communist undertones will come and go, but right now we are all up in the duels, and I'm gonna be honest, loved this episode a lot.
I'm glad.
Mainly because the animation on Weevil was so good, like
it's
way
true.
better than it
it's
needed
true.
to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they showed off like Yugi's friends and stuff, like the animation took a little dip, but like it was at the expense of like these very, very beautiful scenes of Weevil doing like evil laughs and stuff. Ray, what did you think about this episode?
So, a couple things. I thought that the duel was tight, was sick, but I think these two episodes actually shown in a couple other areas. The banter and conversation between Yugi and Weevil, very good. They made it very interesting.
Lot of bug puns from the both of them.
Oh my god, from everyone.
Loved
Joey
it.
had some choice bug puns. the sass from Taya. I don't care. I didn't realize Taya was so savage.
Yeah, she had a chip on her shoulder, didn't she?
And this
She
is
really did.
She was like, "Oh, that my Valentine," and I'm like, "This is the first time you're meeting Mai. What are you talking about?" But still savage.
Well,
Now-
if somebody came up to you, like, that you barely know, like, you've only really seen her, like, if somebody walked up to you and told you that, like, you're a loser and that you, like, your friends suck and all your friends suck and that you're just being annoying to your friend, like, wouldn't you be like...
Well, that's the thing, is that I think that it was, like, just Taya, like, had a gut reaction. Because Mai didn't say much before Taya was like, oh my god, it's you! Like, she had a gut reaction and a gut instinct that Mai was trouble, and then it just turned out to be right. Like,
Yeah.
like as soon as Mai walked up, she was just like, oh, it's you!
So,
And then it was.
but, okay, I want to talk about Mai more because it's a very big part of why this episode was good for me.
Yes.
But I did take a note here that I just noticed, and I wrote, how much research does Weevil do to know that Yugi's favorite card is Dark Magician? Like,
I didn't
I
even
don't
know
know.
that.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, how much research did this boy do?
Okay, so I'm reading some changes to the English dub, which is a feature that's going to be on every episode now.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two things that I want to point out. One is just a crazy, like, thing that is, like, one's just wild, and the other changes everything.
Oh.
So I'm going to read the wild one first. Okay. In the Japanese version, Yugi refers to the duel between him and Weevil as a live or die match, as he is betting his card deck, which is referred to as his life as a duelist. This is interesting, as in the manga, Yugi bets only his star chip and his life against Weevil's 2 star chips, with the implication that if Weevil wins, Yugi will commit suicide and Weevil will get his deck. All references or words implying dying are omitted from the dub, and Yugi simply bets only 1 star chip and his grandfather's deck.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's dark.
apparently.
Remember when we said
What?
that season 0 was dark? It was based off of the manga, which is very dark.
Which we will get to, I think, because season 0 is only like 8 episodes. I think that might be something that we tackle like after we're done with season 1.
For sure.
Just as a buffer.
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to think of what this would look like in a real life context, because I'm like imagining that I bring my Yu-Gi-Oh deck to an anime convention and I sit down and the person sitting across from me is like, if I win, I get to advance to the next stage of the tournament. If you win, I will kill myself right here, right now. And you can have my deck.
It's absolutely wild. Like,
It's a big honor thing.
yeah.
I guess.
I guess.
It's rooted in ancient Japanese traditions, but regardless,
So-
continue.
So here's the thing that changes everything. So in the English version, it's established that Weevil stole the rule book, and which is why he knows about all of the special rules on the island. Because everyone else is kept in the dark. Pegasus says, like, what would be the fun of revealing all of the secrets of the new rules? I don't know how these rules are supposed to be, like, communicated to people if they're just battling other people who don't know. But anyway.
Weevil implies that he stole the rules.
No, he says it outright.
In the dub?
Yeah, he says
Yeah.
it outright a couple times.
Okay, alright.
He's like, don't forget, I stole the rules.
And he also says at some point, you're just jealous because you didn't steal it like I did, or something like
So
that.
what was the difference then?
So the difference is that Weevil, in the Japanese version, was granted sole knowledge of Duelist Kingdom's rules because he won the regionals.
Oh.
Interesting.
So that changes a lot. Because
Yeah.
in the dub, the whole point is that Weevil is, like, sneaky and traitorous and a cheater.
Mm-hmm.
In the Japanese version, he only knows what he knows because he won. Where does that put Weevil?
So he's like, he's not fully a villain in the Japanese.
Right.
He's just another duelist who has an upper hand
He's
because
he's not a villain, he's just a jerk.
Eccentric.
Right.
And a jerk.
But they played it up a lot more in the dub, which is interesting.
Higher stakes, I guess.
I guess.
They're positioning Yugi as like a hyper altruistic, very good hero, whereas if Weevil did not cheat and do evil and commit crime, then he's just another duelist, you know? He's just another person that wants something out of this event. But if he's an evil boy, then Yami Yugi is vanquishing evil. Also, can we talk about how Yami Yugi looks like a villain for like half of this episode?
It's true.
He plans an attack and the background turns like red and purple and like pulsates behind him. Like the background is like just this bad acid trip of like just horrid proportions. And he's like, looks like you activated my trap card. And he looks like he's about to like pull a gun on Weevil. So how do you make that look like he's still a good guy? Well, his opponent stole the rules, so technically he can do whatever he wants.
Technically, he's still morally right somehow.
Yeah.
I know I said it changes everything, but does it really change that much? Because, like, Weevil still, like, was playing underhanded tactics either way.
He did throw a bunch of cards into the ocean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So,
yeah,
so I think it's like, I think either way, Weevil's, like, not a cool dude.
Right.
I don't know. I just think that's, like, a really, like, the fact that they decided to play up his villainry even further.
Yeah. Which I don't mind, honestly. I think that, like, I was having so much fun watching Weevil just do his thing.
Yeah.
And I could tell that the voice actor in the booth was having a blast the whole time.
Oh, for sure. Especially when he was, like, when he drew his, like, a weak monster and was like, oh, I only have this weak monster. Well, I might as well play. Like, when he was doing that bit, like, especially, it just sounded like he was having so much fun.
Yeah. And like you could tell the animators were having a normal one. Mm. Like, all those scenes where he's just, like, laughing and, like, oh, God. I love the animation in this episode so much. Speaking
of the animation, there's a lot of, like, kind of gross moments in the animation in these episodes.
Well, yeah, because it's the bugs. They got the bugs.
I don't mind the bugs, but there's, like... Well, the two that stick out to me is there's a scene where one of, like, Weevil's monsters gets, like... jumps into the mouth of one of Yugi's monsters, and they are both destroyed.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
It was so gross to look at.
I think it might have been a trap card or something, and it was a giant millipede, and it jumped into Karibo, and then Karibo exploded.
You're right, that's what it was.
I'm traumatized.
Yeah, that's not great. Also, I don't
so
like
gross.
how Karibo was used as a blood sacrifice.
Yeah,
that's what Karibo is.
Unfair. I think he's cute.
It's important.
Karibo as a card is definitely designed to be destroyed.
But it's a very important card.
Right, yeah. It's not a bad card. Like, there are plenty of Karibo decks. And there are a lot of different variations of Karibo, but we'll get into that.
What was the other gross thing, Mars?
The other gross thing was, like, the way the Great Moth died at the end.
No, I don't remember that. I'm thinking.
It was, like, charred and on fire.
Yeah, she was just charred and sort of melted.
Yeah, its corpse was just there.
I thought you were going to talk about the cocoon, which was gross.
Oh, the cocoon was gross too. The pulsating cocoon.
It looked like it was made of veins.
Like, it looks like it was made of hairy meat.
It looks like Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
like if Krang laid an egg.
Yeah.
They also used a lot of gross bug sounds, like squishy sounds. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I was gonna, I didn't write it down or anything, but I do distinctly remember at the end of episode 4, they were like, next time on Yu-Gi-Oh!, to be continued, and the music and the sound effects were still playing while the episode faded out, and you just hear, stirring macaroni, and it's gross.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. I want to talk...
That's what good Yu-Gi-Oh! Sounds like.
Oh, no! I want to talk about my favorite part of this episode, but I do want to go to the card corner first.
Oh, we
Let's
missed
go.
the card corner last time, but let's
We
talk.
didn't. I don't think we needed one last time.
There was
It's
there was
true.
not really any featured cards.
I do want to talk about the perfectly ultimate great moth this episode for the card corner.
I agree. It's the perfectly ultimate great moth.
As much as I would love to talk about Feral Imp during his first appearance, I feel like it wasn't grand enough.
Right.
The perfectly ultimate great moth.
And that is a real card?
Yes.
No, it's an anime-only card.
Oh,
I
is it?
think.
Okay.
I think.
I was going to say that I can't imagine a scenario in which you have a card that, first of all, starts as a cocoon and then takes 5 turns to materialize into a monster that's pretty strong, but also, 26,000 is not the highest number we've seen on screen.
You know what? No, I'm wrong. The perfectly ultimate great moth is a real card.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
I was going to say it's wild that he destroyed the cocoon in 4 turns and that it was still able to be summoned but weaker. I thought that sounded like a fake rule for sure.
So I want to say this perfectly great ultimate great moth's name in Portuguese because I noticed something very interesting.
Okay.
It's the Gran Mariposa Perfettimamente Suprema, and
Okay.
Mariposa is butterfly in some languages. So that's interesting.
Huh.
I don't know if it is in Portuguese, but maybe that's the closest thing they had. I don't know. Maybe moths don't exist in Portugal.
I mean, probably untrue, but
I don't know. I don't know anything about bugs. I don't believe in them. Now, this is a monster.
They're not real.
It's a card type is monster. It's an earth attribute. It's an insect with an effect. It's a level 8.
it's a level 8 monster.
Ooh.
Yes. It's
Pretty serious.
attack is 3,500 and its defense is 3,000.
Now, notably, and I don't know how boring this is to listen to, but notably, in the anime, her attack was only 2,500. So
They because it was the level 4. Remember?
no, it wasn't a level 4 monster before.
No. It only reached level 4 perfection because Yugi broke the cocoon before 5.
That's why I'm saying it sounds like a fake thing.
You're right.
But I don't know if that's like a real thing that can happen.
So
I say that it isn't. I say that it can't be. That doesn't sound like real rules.
I'm curious. Well, now I'm looking into, because you're right, because that's the Great Moth. And I'm curious if the Great Moth is the Great Moth is a real card.
Ah.
Huh.
So maybe all of those cards that I said were not real cards, maybe they are real cards.
Who knows? I do want to address the fact that the anime got pretty close to what the card does, because it cannot be normal summoned or set, and it must be special summoned from your hand by tributing 1 petite moth on your 6th turn or later after it was equipped with Cocoon of Evolution. So pretty close there. Pretty close.
So the only difference is in the anime it's a larvae moth, which is also a real card. So
right.
I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore what's real and what's not. Right?
Yu-Gi-Oh has broken your entire Yugi broke your mind.
Oh my gosh. Bringing it back to episode 1, baby.
Now, I do have a question for you about the perfectly ultimate great moth.
Please.
Would you rather go on, a platonic date with the perfectly ultimate great moth or Mothman?
Mothman! Are you kidding me?
Mothman, yeah.
I just wanted to bring back Mothman. That's kind of unfair to the perfectly ultimate great moth.
So, here's my question, Ray.
Uh-huh.
Are all of the questions about the cards, are all of them going to be relationship oriented?
I don't think so. I just thought it would be a fun way to bring Mothman back into the fold because we all want to go on a platonic date.
I'm just
going
to say that, I don't mind if they are relationship oriented because I'm sure we're going to get into some big, awesome, cool monsters that aren't bugs that I would love to take out on a romantic candlelit dinner.
If we were talking about Summoned Skull right now, I might go with Summoned Skull out on a fun little afternoon date.
Now, see, the noises he was making, I was not okay with.
See, I liked those noises. It reminded me of home.
Everybody has preferences, so you can go ahead and take him on a nice romantic cruise to Duelist Island, or what is it called?
Duelist Kingdom.
Duelist Kingdom. You can go ahead and take him on a nice cruise to Duelist Kingdom. I will sit back and I don't know, I can't think of any. I'll go with Feral Imp.
I want to pose a scenario for you with Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth. You're having a platonic date. You're on its back. You're flying around, and then you just both just get into the mood and start singing A Whole New World together.
Now,
the way I imagine this is me going, a whole new world, and then the Great Moth goes,
absolutely, and it's
that's exactly
beautiful.
what happens. Yeah. So I wanted to go back to Maikyuu, the Magical Mist.
Okay.
Which is a real card.
Ooh.
Okay.
My guess is that maybe all of these cards are real cards and that I'm a fool.
There has to be some that are just anime only, right?
Well, now I'm going to Google that. But first, so earlier we were theorizing about what this card would do if it was real. So let me read you what this card does now that we know that it's real.
Okay.
Target one summoned skull or thunder-type monster you control. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls with defense less than or equal to the attack of that monster. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. So it's very different from how it worked in the anime.
It's very different, but it's still related to Summon Skull.
It's still related to Summon Skull, and it seems like a pretty cool card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They like to take some creative liberties, and honestly, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think a lot of these cards worked differently and were rebalanced, like, later on, like, down the line.
That's also fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's Card Corner, this time.
So, I am now on a page, on the wiki, for anime-only cards.
Okay.
All right.
And
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Not real.
Blue Eyes White Dragon is a real
not
card.
Real.
However,
Not real.
However, as far as I can tell, in the original Duel Monsters anime, there are 128 cards that were shown that are anime only.
Were they all the cards that Kaiba opened and showed to Grandpa? Because that's what I want to believe.
I was going to say, that's a lot of cards
It is a
not be real.
lot of cards to not be real.
That's an absurd amount.
Yeah, it's true. So there could have definitely been cards in this episode that don't exist in real life.
That monster that Weevil destroyed that was face down and in defense, what was that even? It was probably a fake monster.
Wait. I wrote down what he said because it made me laugh. No! My Beaver Warrior!
Oh, Beaver Warrior's real.
Beaver Warrior is very real.
So I'm gonna drop some hot takes. Just one hot take, really.
Okay.
You're gonna
It's
drop a
hot
hot
and
take?
spicy. I think the episode should have ended when episode 4 ended and Yugi did the cool thing where he bounced off all the attacks with a spell card. And I know that that's not how the game actually works, but also that was such a cool moment. And for that to not have ended the duel, I was like, come on.
Right.
Come on.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that, like, in each duel, like, it's like a power struggle between, like, one party will look like they have the upper hand, and then the other one will look like they have the upper hand, and I'll just keep going like that until one of them wins.
I am ready for all the stress headaches that's gonna give me.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just goofing. It's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring up my final thought,
Uh-huh.
which is all the stuff with Mai, because it sets up a lot of things for Mai and the themes of friendship in this anime, which, ding, 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 there's the name drop. Or something.
Or something.
Mai is very pragmatic, and we talked about how she is implied to not have a lot of friends, and that she's a lone wolf. However, in this episode, the idea is open to her that maybe friends are okay, because Yugi does win the duel with the help of his friends. And she's not like, oh my god, friendship's the best, but she's okay.
I think the door is open, but she's not, like, walking through it yet.
Right.
It kind of shows that, like, you know, not believing in the heart of the cards can just be like a general cynicism, you know, like I have to have the best cards or nothing else matters. But it's like Yugi doesn't have the very best cards in the whole world because some of them are in the ocean.
Oh.
But he does have friends, and you know, maybe Mai doesn't have the best cards in the universe either, but she knows her way around her deck really well, as we were shown last episode. And I think that she's definitely gonna kick some butt and learn about friendship. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she's gonna have her own character arc, just like Joey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I like Mai a lot and the potential she has. But I think
me too. But I'm gay,
and so is she.
Absolutely. Right. I think my most favorite moment in this episode is actually a Tristan moment.
Oh, really? Ooh.
I was hoping you would say that. I was hoping you would talk about the Tristan moment.
Yes, it's very good where Mai's like, blah, 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 Yugi's gonna lose, nah, nah, nah. And then Tristan's like, then why is Yugi smiling? And I'm like, no one else noticed, because Tristan is perceptive about friendship.
It's true.
I was gonna say, like, even though he doesn't understand what's going on in the game, he has the game sense. You know, like he knows when he knows when things are about to get topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not so useless Tristan.
The last point that I have in the bank is, like, it happened actually very early on in episode 4. So we were talking last episode, about, Joey only saving the 2 cards, and that, you know, symbolizes his stronger bond with Yugi. And when Mai approaches all of the pals, he's like, I'm Yugi's best friend in the whole universe and his number 1 pal and blah blah blah. And then he points to Taya and Tristan and he's like, and those 2 are trespassers. Like, he just like sells them out immediately and also throws them under the bus. So maybe only saving 2 of the Exodia pieces was a little bit more symbolic than we thought. What happened, Joey?
So in the Japanese version, Joey refers to them as just funny sidekicks. And yeah, in the dub, he calls them trespassers. Which, yeah, I think it's. And here's the thing: I think for our purposes, we're like, you know, in terms of our discussion, we're only really that concerned with the canon of the English dub, because otherwise it just gets confusing.
Which is a canon in and of itself, completely separate from the Japanese dub.
Right. It's true. Events co-align, and there's some similarities, but it's overall very different.
Yes.
However, I think it's very interesting to sort of see the sort of differences in the alternate universes of these characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Joey in the English dub is maybe a little bit more prone to being a sellout. I don't know.
A good thing there was no referee there.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
These 2 are trespassers.
I mean, in actuality, I think it's just supposed to be implying that he's, you know, a jokester. But, like, his loud mouth could get them in serious trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mars, I want to know your final thoughts, because I feel like Marble and I had some wrap-ups there.
My final thoughts is that, like, if I saw Weevil in real life, I would probably be able to punt him.
But would
One of those people that you know you could take if it came down to it. Yeah. You wouldn't initiate the fight, but if it happened,
no. But here's the thing: I feel like you know how like small dogs will sometimes pick fights with big dogs, even though there's no way that they'll win. That's how I feel about Weevil.
Weevil's gonna pick a fight with you?
Weevil would pick a fight with me, and then I just deck him across the face, and he would fall to the ground, and it would not be very difficult. And I'm not a fighter, but I know that I could take Weevil.
He's like, I stole the rulebook for our fist fight before we had it. And then you're just like, nuh-uh.
Right, yeah.
So, I think that's a good place to wrap.
I think it's good to end this podcast about friendship. I think it's good to end on beating up a small child.
You would punt a boy.
On the note of physical violence.
Right.
I would punt a boy, yeah.
Can I get that on a sticker, please?
So that's going to be our first bit of merch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Is a sticker of saying I would punt a boy.
And it just has Weevil's face with an X on it.
Which at the end of the episode is like at the end of the episode when Weevil gets defeated, a picture of him falls down and a big X mark goes over his face, and it is
like a hit list.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Here's the thing, and follow me on this thread real quick. It's on a card. So is his soul in a card and they just destroyed him?
So this is maybe going to be a very specific poll, but in Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy, I think 8, which is a game that I haven't played. It's
the one with the cards.
There's a card game that you can play, and in the card game, you can get cards with pictures of your friends on them.
Yeah,
yep.
That's right.
Well, they have those Yu-Gi-Oh card generators where you can just throw any old image on the card and give it, like, the flavor text and stuff. I think that Pegasus is like waiting now because he has so much time to kill that he's just online, just using those apps and making funny cards for all the players, and he's like He's like, haha, I'll make the flavor text for this one. I'm Weevil and I like bugs.
And while he's sipping on some nondescript drink.
And the drink is red.
Blood.
I was going to be more subtle about it, Ray, but you just went out ahead and
Pegasus drinks blood, fact.
Pegasus drinks blood. I wish Pegasus would drink my blood, if you know what I'm saying.
I
am not. Here's the truth. I'm just going to backpedal immediately. Pegasus is definitely not my type.
Fair.
What do you mean, Mars?
Sorry, Pegasus, but
I thought we had a future together.
I know that we both swiped right on Tinder, but I'm going to be honest, it was an accident.
I super liked you.
Ooh, the drama. I guess we'll find out next time what happens.
Next time on Deck of Friendship.
What a weird note to
end on. That might be the wrap on this episode. No, please, do an actual wrap.
All right. Our hand has been played. Thank you so much for listening to Deck of Friendship. If you enjoyed the show, please leave us a rating on iTunes. It would really mean a lot. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Twitter at FriendshipDeck or at deckofriendshippod@gmail.com. Our turn is over. Your move, Pegasus!
I'll see you next time, everybody!